I don't think there's any question that Pam Bondi was dedicated. I mean, deeply, deeply dedicated to Donald Trump. So the firing of her must have been just like a dagger straight through the heart. I'm sure she's still reeling from it. But we're getting some information from Fox, of all places, who is extending Trump's humiliation ritual of Pam Bondi. I want to remind you, this video right here, this narrative play-by-play, Fox News, play the clip.
This ride in the beast to and from the Supreme Court yesterday, President Trump and Attorney General Bondi talked about the possibility of her leaving DOJ. So hours later, when these photos were taken of Bondi at the president's address to the nation, she knew what could be coming.
So, I mean, a play-by-play. They were in the beast together. They went to the Supreme Court together. He said, hey, listen, Pam, I think we're going to break up. And she knows it. Here's something I read online that I kind of found interesting. He always keeps these people kind of close because they've committed so many crimes together. So we know Kristi Noem, the wife of Big Titty Brian. She is the leader of the American Shields or something. I think Pam's called it yesterday, the Avengers, which I thought was hilarious. And Pam Bondi says that she's going into the private sector. I'm interested what private sector this is going to be. You know that it is a Trump oligarch sycophant that can keep her shackled to the Trump regime, because I don't think this thing is tidied up where he has a file already with like, here's everybody's pardons. He wouldn't do that. Autocrats and dictators do not think about their secession plans. So he has to keep her somehow in the mix. But you guys, I think he's going on a full-blown massacre. There are rumors all over the place. Started with Noem, now it's extended to Bondi. Pop up the next post. New. Trump is considering more changes to his cabinet, according to 4 officials. He has expressed frustration and disappointment with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and Labor Secretary Lori Chavez de Ramir. He's very angry and he's going to be moving people, an administration official told Politico. No final decisions have been made on Chavez de Ramir and Lutnick, and Trump has contemplated firing people and then backed off before. I mean, no surprise here that it's Taco City with this guy. But we've also heard rumors on Elon Musk's free speech website. I've heard rumors that Tulsi Gabbard is on the chopping block, and even Kash Patel. And so I think that he kind of has kept this together for about a year. They have the most toxic work environment on the planet. Trump's dementia is escalating. His crimes are escalating. And let's face it, he doesn't care about policy. He wants to see like James Comey, Letitia James, any Democrat arrested. I mean, in my mind, like he would love to see Joe Biden and Barack Obama. Like this is like delusional Weekend at Bernie's Make-A-Wish presidency phase. And even though the people working around him are insane, I think some of them may even be like, I'm sorry, we can't do that. The federal judges are going to just rip us. And as it gets back to Bondi, I just think it's so important to talk about her legacy. And this is a woman. First of all, I want to say a woman. And I read this online yesterday, and this makes perfect sense. So these aren't my words, but I want to share it with you. Women that carry water for the patriarchy are the first to drown. So Pam Bondi carries water for not just the patriarchy, obviously, but for a pedophilic billionaire sex ring. She met with victims. She saw child rape videos. And we can never, ever forget this photograph right here. And I want to bring it up every chance we can get, because this will be how she is remembered in history books. Right here. Here she is. All of those women behind her are Epstein survivors. And look at her. She has nothing inside of her except for hatred and disdain. And she carried the water for pedophiles, and she's drowning right now. And then the Epstein survivors have come out with a statement that I'd like to share with you. I'll pop this up. Following news of Attorney General Pam Bondi's dismissal, a coalition of survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse and trafficking network released the following statement. Attorney General Pam Bondi failed survivors. Under her leadership, the Department of Justice mishandled the release of the Epstein files, leaving millions of pages withheld from the public, while serious redaction errors exposed survivors' identities. These failures put survivors at risk, eroded trust, and compounded the trauma we have lived with for years. We came forward with courage and hope for justice, but under Attorney General Bondi's leadership, we were met with secrecy, mismanagement, and a failure to adequately protect our safety. Every misstep by the Department of Justice has reminded us that the system often protects abusers, not victims. As new leadership takes the helm of the Department of Justice, we stand ready to work together toward a more rigorous and transparent process moving forward. We are calling for meaningful transparency, accountability for past mistakes, and real protections for those who have bravely come forward. Accountability should not depend on power, position, or influence, and they all signed their names, first and last names. Here's the problem. The person who's going to come in after her, who's going to be the acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, is Donald Trump's personal criminal defense attorney. He's the guy who went on Fox News and said, it's not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. This is a guy who's just immediately dismissive of all of this. I am hopeful that these records are preserved somewhere because I think Trump wants somebody, this is my opinion. This is just my opinion. I think he wants people to go in and destroy all of it. There was news that broke yesterday that the DOJ claimed that preserving presidential records, and this was a law that was passed after the Watergate scandal, the DOJ said, oh, that's unconstitutional, meaning that Trump doesn't have to preserve any of the records of his current crime spree presidency. And so it's so important that the work of Robert Garcia in the House Oversight Committee and these brave, like Tom Massey, who's a Republican I disagree with on everything, but he has moral clarity on this issue, Ro Khanna, that we get justice for these women and expose these horrific child rapists. And okay, Pam Bondi, carrying the water for the patriarchy. She's drowning in embarrassment, humiliation, rejection right now. She set a new record. Pop this up. The newly ousted cabinet secretary has set a record for the shortest tenure of a confirmed attorney general since the 1970s. This is reporting by the Daily Beast. This is the thing about Trump 2.0. They do the worst job in the quickest, shortest amount of time possible. Like that's going to be the legacy for all of them. They broke everything as quickly as they possibly could, and they still completely failed. And then, okay, I love to poke fun at these people. I love it when bad things happen to bad people. And we know that Kristi Noem is, I think we're in day like 5 or 6 of requested privacy and prayers for Kristi Noem because she's blindsided by Big Titty Brian. And this, of course, is a meme, but I would be remiss if I didn't share this with you all because these people are worthy of ridicule and we need to shame their hypocrisy as much as we possibly can. Here's a funny meme of Bondi with her husband. Oh my God, the real Thelma Johnson. Love this. Pam Bondi is looking forward to spending more time with her husband. And for those of you listening, it is a gorgeous meme of Bondi with a dog and her husband with larger tits than Big Titty Brian. The internet is truly, truly undefeated in ridiculing these people. And I want to remind you guys, we really must do reputational damage to these people. We have to do reputational damage to the MAGA brand and all of the criminals that have helped create a permission structure for that image to exist in the United States of America, of those survivors standing there bravely, have gone through so much therapy and reconciliation and the mental and emotional turmoil and gymnastics, and to raise their hands in a hearing like that, and for Pam Bondi to sit there and be so dismissive. We need to browbeat these people to hell and back. And lastly, this is just unreal. While all of this stuff is happening, we're bombing Iran, we're bombing Iran's infrastructure. Pete Hegseth is going full tilt Christian nationalist. Trump is on a, bloody massacre firing his cabinet. He is laser focused. I mean, laser focused on one thing. Pop this up. Aaron Rupar says Trump is retreating to his safe space of ballroom posting. And as you remember, we dropped an episode where this whole ballroom stuff is AI. There's a staircase that leads not to a door, but to nowhere, which is the perfect microcosm of the entire Trump presidency. Furthermore, a federal judge who was appointed by George W. Bush, you guys. Not only does Trump go to federal court and get his ass beat, he gets his ass beat by like Republican conservative federal judges. This federal judge said, no, you cannot move forward with a ballroom. You cannot spend that money without Congress's approval. And he'll say, oh, it's privately funded. It's privately funded. And here's what I want you all to help me with. Every single wealthy person that is privately funding any project for Donald Trump, he has told them, oh, you're going to have your names in the ballroom. And we need to make sure that we get those names. And I'm sure they'll be carved into marble, and that we cut those out and we preserve them in the museum, the Trump crime spree, murdering spree museum, Never Again museum. And all of those oligarchs that are fascist collaborators that would rather spend their money tending to the ego of their alpha male that ironically, wakes up and puts on a full face of really bad makeup every day. Instead of helping those in need, instead of being the patriots they say they are and paying their fair share in taxes, they help break the country and marginalize the very people who have worked so hard and paid the taxes that these people refuse to pay. Although they are rich, these oligarchs, remember, they are parasites.